Good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is you're watching this. I'm Dave with Cups and Handles, and in this quick market recap, we're going to break down today's SPY price action, identify the key technical levels that matter, and discuss what I'm anticipating for the next trading session. We only have a few minutes, so let's jump right into the charts. Hey everybody, welcome to today's recap and next day market analysis. Lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into what happened with today's session. Now I'm going to pull up the drawings, and I am a little perturbed right now because I did record this full video. It was over 20 minutes, but my mic was messing up, so it sounded like super robotic. So, with that said, a lot of our different ranges that I actually did have for the video are no longer there. Okay. However, we had multiple different supports we needed to focus on today. I'm not going to try to guess where they were. Um, you know, again, I had them drawn out and the video got messed up, so we're just gonna have to go from there. However, there was a range around that 769, but the one I do remember was the 768.04. Okay, and that was a very important range, and as you can tell within the session, we hovered around that area pretty closely. Okay, for the majority of the session. And the reason why we know that, obviously, besides just seeing it, but you can see how buying underneath it immediately started pulling back up, pulling above it immediately started pulling down. So that range of control was very strong today. Now, I did not get to see the gamma levels, so I don't really, I can't tell you what the call wall and put wall was at, but I'm going to be guessing it was probably around that 769 for the call wall, probably around that 767 for the put wall. Might be slightly above, slightly below, but we closed obviously at the 767.45. So where do we go from here? Okay, and we need to really start with, probably let's start with the 4-hour time frame. Okay, kind of have to delete these drawings because these were from the video I recorded already. Alright, so we've broken out this buying channel, with some conviction at this point. Okay, I think that's fairly obvious. And we went from the top of the consolidation channel all the way down to the bottom of the consolidation channel. Trading is a skill that can last for a lifetime. Join my Patreon for live classes, my personal market analysis, premium Discord access, and direct communication with me. Invest in yourself, become a more consistent trader, and build a better future for yourself and your family. Visit patreon.com/wooksy to join today. Thank you so much, and let's return back to the video. And with that said, from pulling to the top of the consolidation channel all the way to the bottom, where do we go from here? Okay, potentially we start heading right back up. Let me change the format. We start heading right back up to the top of the consolidation channel. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case, and I'll show you why in a minute on the daily time frame, but just kind of going over where we're at right now. If we break through this bottom consolidation channel, or the bottom of the consolidation channel, then we're going to start heading towards the support at the 758.11. Now, I've checked very closely within this entire range. There's really no support in between a whole $9 range. So if we're going to start selling down, it's going to be a pretty massive sell down. Okay, it's going to go basically all the way from that 767 range down to the 758. Okay, now with that said, on the daily time frame, hiding the drawings here, we have a very crucial level that's located very close to that 758. Okay, we have the 20-day moving average. 20-day moving average is at the 758.68. It will be pulling towards that 759, 760 range over the next few sessions. So if we start seeing some upward momentum again, then we very likely will be at that 760, maybe even 761 by Friday. However, if we do continue pulling downward, yes, it'll be climbing upward as well, the 20 mo, but it will be climbing upward a lot slower. So with that let's see, 758.11 has a support range. We also have the 20-day moving average. So whatever value that is, again, very likely for tomorrow's session, should be around that 759 area. So I would look at that pretty much right as the market opens, as that's going to be very, very crucial. Now, with that said, I would not get too, bullish or bearish at this point. Okay, and just pulling up the 4-hour time frame here, we do have some crucial support or some crucial resistance ranges to retest. We have that 769.89. We have that 773. It's literally 773 on the dot. Then the 778.23, and then it's the all-time high, close to the top of that channel. However, the 5-day moving average, I'm turning off the drawings again, well, is currently at that 773, 37. So with the close today, that should be pulling down to about the 771. Okay, might be a little lower, but it should be around the 771, which puts us, going back to the 4-hour time frame, below this resistance and starting to head towards the 769.89 resistance. Okay, now we did mess with that resistance a little bit today. The high of this session was 769.50, so it was very close to that range. But if we don't start heading upward towards that 5-day moving average, then where do we head? Again, towards that 758.11. Now, also what we're going to look at on the daily time frame is that the volume. Okay, I've been mentioning this, quite a lot lately, is that we have to pay attention to what's going on with the volume. Do you see how the buyers have dropped off immensely? And then all of a sudden we're starting to see the sellers picking up volume. That's, usually indicative of a bit of selling. I'm not going to say a sell-off, but usually that's indicative of selling. Each of these ranges, you start seeing the volume start to drop, selling occurs. Volume starts to drop with the buying, selling occurs. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, somewhat repeat. Also, we need to pay attention to the ADL. Now, the ADL again is like the money volume. So, with the money volume pulling down, with the ADL pulling down, this is telling if I could talk right, telling us that there is money being withdrawn from the symbol. So, symbol being the SPY, that's not a good thing. That means there's a lot of money being taken out of the market right now. Now the final note we're going to close this video on, and I do apologize it wasn't as technical this time, but I'm just very, very kind of frustrated recording a whole 27-minute video for it to not work, and I just don't have a lot of time to record this right now. Tomorrow we have the FOMC meeting minutes, okay? Now again, I don't think they're going to be very, important for the market overall, even though the market looks forward to them quite a bit. The reason why is because the FOMC from July, while it was indecisive for the investors moving into it and for the traders moving into it, because we had the odds being, pretty high with that rate hike, the Fed themselves were not, you know, too much of in a just disagreement. We had two Fed members dissenting, but compared to July, July had, I believe, almost half and half. So half the members, um, wanting a pause, half of them wanting a rate hike. That didn't occur this meeting. It was much different. So with that said, I don't think the market's going to read anything inside the FOMC meeting minutes and say, oh, it's time to sell off, or oh, it's time to have a rally. Now, however, again, we're at a very crucial area. And we are at a very crucial area with, potentially major news coming out. So, do we start pulling up within this consolidation channel again and start heading towards the top? Or do we start rejecting this channel and heading towards the 20 mile? That's kind of the big picture and what we should really be focusing on for tomorrow's trading session. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Wish I had more to say, but I just don't right now. So with that said, as always, thank you all so much for watching my videos, and I hope you have a great trading day tomorrow. Trade safe, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care, everybody. That wraps up this market recap. If you found the analysis helpful, please take a moment to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would benefit from these daily market breakdowns. It really does help support the channel and allows me to continue creating free educational content for everybody. As always, have a trading plan before you enter a position, manage your risk, and remember, we're not trying to predict the market, we're trying to prepare for it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.